So in mid-June, we planted our dahlias in the garden. This is a bed that we haven't planted any perennials in yet, and this is where our tulips were planted. So we've lifted them all, and this bed just needed a bit of weeding to get started. We then added some fish blood and bone, it's a balanced fertilizer that comes in like powder form, and the nitrogen in this encourages strong growth and a really lovely, healthy, rich green foliage, and the slow release of the phosphate helps promote vigorous root growth. And then there's some added potash that promotes flower colour. So we sprinkled this on the surface. We then straightened out the irrigation tape. This is a good time to check that your tape is working properly. The irrigation tape isn't necessary in most gardens, but we have a large garden and we don't want to spend hours watering it every evening in the summer. So we find that we really need the irrigation tape and the timers just for our sanity more than anything else. And we also think that using the irrigation tape is less wasteful because you're watering the soil directly and it's not like falling on the leaves, and especially when you have flowers, you don't really want to water the petals of the flowers because they can get ruined and soggy. So actually, if you want beautiful flowers, it's better to use irrigation tape. The next step was to add some peat-free garden compost. The only peat-free garden compost that I use is the Silver Grow one from Melcourt. It is RHS endorsed and it's a really lovely structure. I love the fact that every single packet's the same. It's consistent, so great quality, and my plants and my seedlings thrive using this compost. So I would highly recommend this compost if you want to go peat-free. This is what we used. We just enriched the soil with this. There's a link again in the description below this YouTube video if you'd like to look at the product and maybe buy some. We planted our dahlias about 30 centimetres apart. It's really not an accurate measurement, but we did cut a bamboo stick to 30 centimetres so that we could pretend we were measuring. It's approximately 30 centimetres apart for each dahlia, possibly a bit more than 30 centimetres, but as I said, nothing's precise. Half our dahlias that we were planting, the ones in the bigger black pots, those are from stock from previous years that we stored over winter, and the smaller square pots are the ones that came from a company called Halls of Heddon, and I ordered those much earlier on in the year and they were delivered, and in fact I did a YouTube unboxing of these, so you could watch the video if you want. There's a link in the description below, but you'll see how small they are when they arrive. They're beautifully packaged and lovely cuttings. I think they were rooted cuttings that they sent me, and they were absolutely gorgeous. But anyway, I potted those up and this is what they grew into. Very healthy plants, and they're going to, grow to their full size. It doesn't matter that it's come from a cutting, you'll still get a lovely plant with lots of flowers this season. If you've got a lot of dahlias, it will make it easier to stake them if you plant them in rows. If you've only got a few, you can just individually stake them or put supports around them, but we have a lot of dahlias. This isn't the only bed that we've planted actually. So we plant them in rows so that we can then set up a grid system for the staking, and I'll show you that at the end of the video. The other thing that I did this year is I tried to arrange them sort of floret style in ombre shades, so from lightest to dark, and I also put the tallest dahlias in the back row. It's an experiment, we'll see what happens, but it's a bit of fun. Once we'd planted all the dahlias, we gave them a really good water. The soil was fairly dry, and none of my dahlias in the pots were particularly wet because I tried to keep them on the drier side. Anyway, so we watered everything in really well, and then we put a thick layer of mulch on top. And we just use spent mushroom compost for this, but you can use any mulch that you like, and it's just really important to mulch because it suppresses the weeds, so you'll have less of an infestation of weeds, which is important because then your plants get all the nutrients. And the other thing it does is it keeps the moisture in, and whilst dahlia tubers don't want to be soggy, it just relieves the pressure of watering all the time, so you don't have to water as often if you're keeping the water in. And particularly with our irrigation tubes underneath the mulch, this will really help to just minimize how much we need to water. The holes you can see here have been dug by badgers. These badgers plagued us all spring. They dug up the hundreds of tulips that we had planted in this bed, and they ate every single bulb, bar about 20. Anyway, I think they came back looking for more bulbs, or maybe they sniffed out some baby ones. But the important thing is that they didn't damage the dahlias. We just covered the holes back in and everything's hunky-dory. But that's the price we pay for living in the countryside. These very annoying badgers. So about 3 weeks later, we managed to install the staking system. And to be honest with you, this year the staking system is pretty pants. Really, we needed to use much stronger bamboo canes. I don't know why we pulled these out and carried on using them, but we did. We shouldn't have used these feeble little bamboo canes. I don't think they're going to hold the dahlia flowers up particularly well. If we get a strong breeze, they'll blow over. So once the stems have formed, I may well come in and stake those stronger stems. So temporarily this will do, and certainly for the smaller dahlias this kind of structure will be absolutely fine. I just think the bamboo canes are pretty pathetic and they're not going to do a good enough job with the really big dahlias, especially the cafe au laits and the islanders and the Penhill watermelons, which have really big flowers. I don't think this support will work, but we'll see. It's an experiment, you never know, it might work. And yeah, I do think I'm going to be running around when I know that there's a big breeze coming and shoving some more stakes in. Here you can see that we've got bulbs forming. It's really exciting. I just love this whole process of growing dahlias. I actually don't mind that we have to dig them up and store them. I find it really exciting to see what the tubers look like. I love being able to split my really big ones and create more plants for free, and I love buying new varieties and, you know, seeing whether that particular variety in real life is something that I really fancy. My favourite thing about dahlias is having enough of them to be able to pick them and create flower arrangements that I can give to friends and family, and flower arrangements that I can bring into the house, because I mean, these are absolutely stunning flowers and they go really well with the cosmos and the amaranthus, and I just really like creating these what I call spectacular displays of just vivid colour in summer and autumn. So anyway, watch out for some videos of those arrangements, which I will also add to my YouTube channel.